people automatically assume he had to have done something. Because you hear how everybody would, you get this role in Hollywood, you had to have done something. So now all of a sudden, my podcast is moving up the ranks.
What
both
you
of
do?
them. So people automatically assume, man, look here. Man, I don't play like that. I don't. I've never been propositioned. I've never been approached.
After Shannon Sharpe was canceled, Katt Williams spoke out for him. Shannon Sharpe got a lot of attention after saying and doing a few things that caused a big stir on social media. Sharpe is known for saying honest and sometimes controversial things. The specifics of the controversy center on a heated exchange that happened during a live broadcast. He expressed strong views that many people found offensive, which led to widespread calls for his firing. There are often big problems that come with being famous. Just a few months ago, Katt Williams warned that Shannon Sharpe would see directly how toxic the industry is. He is now living it, especially with Shannon's podcast club. She has been getting a lot of attention lately, especially after Katt's interview. However, Shannon's recent success hasn't been praised by everyone in the business in a recent interview. Shannon vented his anger at the many famous people who were trying to stop his show and put him down. These actions have turned into threats, and many people who were excited to be on his show have suddenly pulled out without giving a reason.
Have a real stable at-home situation to understand. I got meetings, I got study, I got to train, the way I eat, the way I sleep. I have to understand that. Now, if he's willing to pay that price, there's a price to be paid for greatness. There's a price to be paid for success. And if you're not willing to pay that price, you don't deserve to be successful. You don't deserve to be great. So the question that Cam is going to have himself, and only he can answer. Not his dad, not his mom, not his handlers, only Cam.
In an unexpected move on social media, Katt Williams showed his support for Shannon Sharpe. Williams, who is well known for his own contentious remarks and fearless humor, backed Sharpe's freedom to share his thoughts without worrying about his shows getting canceled. Williams stressed the value of free speech and the necessity of a society that accepts different points of view, regardless of how unpopular or controversial they may be. He argued that canceling Sharpe over his remarks creates a risky precedent and stifles candid and open communication. Both Sharpe's supporters and admirers strongly backed Williams' defense of Sharpe. Many praised Williams for opposing cancel culture and pushing communication over division. Williams' post got a plethora of supportive and consensual responses. We've always known that the profession is poisonous, but the circumstances around Shannon are hitting unprecedented levels. There are rumors going around that Shannon's life may be in danger because of the growing animosity. During a recent chat, Shannon talked candidly about the uncomfortable difficulties he's faced since his viral Katt Williams interview earlier this year. During a chat with Cam Newton, he explained why celebrities feel at ease sharing their stories on his podcast. Shannon shared that before each interview, he asks his guests if there are any subjects they prefer to avoid, hoping to make them feel comfortable and truly represent themselves to the world. Shannon made it clear that he has never tried to be a journalist and that he is not one.
I don't. I've never been propositioned. I've never been approached. I work my I try to create the best content that I possibly can. I try to create content that I feel that my viewing and listening audience want to see, want to hear. And that's the team that I've assembled. That's our job, is to try to create the best content.
For some who may not know, Shannon is a highly accomplished former NFL player who was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2011. Following his illustrious football career, he transitioned into broadcasting, becoming a commentator for CBS Sports pregame show The NFL Today, which included segments like the Sprint Halftime Report and the Subway Post-Game Show. In 2013, Shannon expanded his impact by becoming a columnist and spokesperson for Fitness RX for Men magazine, even appearing on its cover. Later in 2016, he teamed up with Skip Biss on SS1 sports debate show Ski and Shannon. Undisputed Shannon Sharpe already had a good reputation in the industry from hosting Club Lachey, so he didn't jump into podcasting just because it was the newest fad. Alongside former NFL player Chad Osinkob-Johnson, Shannon hosts another podcast, Nightcap. However, Club Lachey is particularly well known because of multiple popular interviews, including those with Steve Harvey and Katt Williams in 2021. The Apple Podcast editorial highlighted the importance of the Bubba Wallace episode. Shannon Sharpe's career shows his persistence and aptitude for connecting his audience amid the industry's challenges and adversity. In 2020, during the pandemic, after retiring from professional sports, Shannon started Club Lachey, finding a newfound passion for podcasting. His goal was to create a forum where Black performers could easily share their experiences without worrying about being harshly judged. As Shannon puts it, despite his vast media background, he is a conversationalist rather than a journalist. Shannon was caught off guard by the phenomenal success his show experienced in 2024, much of which was attributable to Katt Williams. After nearly a year of trying, Shannon finally got a break when he met Katt's new manager at Chance and she introduced him to the comedian. A week later, Katt was sharing trade secrets on Clutch. At first, Shannon wasn't sure how well the show would do. Prior to that, his most popular YouTube video, which had gotten about 8 million views, was about Steve Harvey. But following the session with the Katt, Shannon's producer saw a big breakthrough. Shannon estimated that, at most, the episode would surpass Steve Harvey, which had gotten about 10 million views. Shannon was in for a huge treat. Despite facing controversy and obstacles in the industry, Katt Williams' ability to connect with audiences is demonstrated in the episode where he accuses Kevin Hart of being an industry plant. He began by challenging Kevin's description of his East Coast beginnings, saying that it was unlikely for Kevin to have developed his business on the East Coast, and then fast-earned beta claim in LA. Katt questioned Kevin's swift rise in the company, saying that he just seemed to materialize out of nowhere, landing big contracts and TV parts that other comedians needed years to achieve. He ascribed Kevin's success to shady things, suggesting he was an industry plant. Katt further charged Kevin with serving as a gatekeeper to promote the growth of other industrial plants, such as given their long-standing feud. Tiffany Haddish. Katt's criticism of Kevin Hart's heart wasn't shocking. In a prior interview, Katt stated her disapproval of Kevin's decision to wear a dress on screen, implying that the way black men and women are portrayed in the media is controlled by gatekeepers in the industry who want to weaken black manhood. When Katt appeared on Sharpe's show earlier this year, he warned Shannon about turning Club Shay into a platform for truth-telling. Little did he know the extent of the hostility. Guests who had previously eagerly accepted the show's invitations are now withdrawing. Shannon faces criticism for his interviewing style, getting hate comments and encountering efforts to silence him altogether. Take DL Guy as an example. Although Katt did not attack him during the Club Shay interview, DL Guy criticized Katt severely for his remarks regarding other comedians. Katt pointed out a worrisome trend where the industry retaliates by attacking his credibility and portraying him as unstable. It appears Shannon Sharpe is facing a similar backlash. Reports say that DL Guy may have been dissatisfied with the attention Shannon and Katt got from their interview, which is why he attempted to undermine it, but he is not alone in these sentiments. Shannon's encounter with DL Guy caused an unexpected reaction that begs questions, especially since there was no known conflict between reports. Steve Harvey is another person who is purportedly implicated in possibly ruining Shannon's job. Interestingly, Steve had previously been on Club Shay, where they had a standard yet noteworthy viral chat where they covered a range of topics from industry insights to lifestyle.
But no, because think about my ascension, Cam. I lost my job in June. In October, Complex says, the most entertaining sports personality, I'm number one.
Yes, sir.
I go, Stephen A. bring me on First Take.
Katt Williams' appearance at Club Shay caused a spike in podcast listeners, making his interview the most viewed video to date. He didn't hold back during the frank conversation, accusing Steve Harvey of taking his story about living in a car and having financial problems from him. This criticism wasn't new, as Steve had previously been criticized for feeding negative stereotypes about African American guys. Specifically, Katt claimed that Steve had pressured Cedric the Entertainer to dress femininely, implying a bigger Hollywood plot to undermine black masculinity. Steve also claimed that Cedric was deliberately made fun of because he saw Cedric's potential and didn't want him to surpass him at a New Year's Eve performance. Steve stated on Jamie Foxx's satellite radio show that he would be the larger person and would not descend to the level of a small-time feud because he did not want to be disgraced. He stated that his grandfather used to tell him that dogs don't bark at stationary cars, only at moving ones. Dogs also constantly bark at the moon, but if the moon responds, the dog gets notoriety. Katt's remarks further strengthened his conviction that Steve couldn't compete with him comedically, but as both pursued their jobs, tensions seemed to lessen. When Katt talked openly in an interview, it seemed to greatly hurt Steve and rekindled the conflict. Though Steve did not specifically name Shannon or Katt on his radio show, it was clear to whom he was referring. Nevertheless, the drama continued, as sources state that Steve is actively trying to get other celebrities to back out of doing Club Shay. He is not alone in this effort, as Oprah Winfrey is another well-known person who is said to have a grudge against Shannon Sharpe. Shannon's decision to host Monique on his podcast, wherein Monique publicly denounced Oprah as a narcissistic manipulator and detailed how Oprah and Tyler Perry allegedly mistreated her and destroyed her career because she refused to follow conditions that weren't outlined in her contract, is the source of Oprah's conflict with Shannon. The long-running conflict between Monique and Oprah began when Monique worked with Oprah on the film Precious. When Monique refused to take part in an unpaid impromptu press tour, Oprah reportedly became enraged. Oprah then reportedly propagated rumors about Monique being difficult to deal with, which caused friction between the two. Despite clubs, Shannon has not been immune to criticism. She typically has fun interviews with guests. However, some of her shows have provoked criticism. For example, Shannon came under fire after footage from his conversation with Amanda Seales was released. To be fair, Amanda talked about her experience growing up in America as a black girl with autism and the challenges she faced. At the beginning of the conversation, Shannon came across as confrontational. For example, when Amanda noted that her mother had noticed how her mind worked differently and showed symptoms of autism, Shannon seemed to be gaslighting her by implying that she might be exaggerating. Amanda, as the only black student in the class, ALS described an instance in which she challenged a teacher she thought had made a historically incorrect comment. She thought the teacher's response was discriminatory, which led to an unfair parent-teacher conference. Both points of view were fair, but Shannon disagreed, saying that in his experience, students never corrected their teachers. Instead, he suggested that the teacher's response may have been the result of feeling disrespected rather than prejudice. After that awkward conversation, the interview went well, but afterwards, fans attacked Shannon for gaslighting. The controversy surrounding Shannon and his podcast highlights the difficulties in controlling public perception and the media, especially when dealing with delicate topics with well-known guests. Amanda noticed Shannon's perceived judgmental demeanor despite his claim that his podcast offers a judgment-free environment for guests. She came to the conclusion that, despite Shannon's likability, he might not be the right person for such deep talk. Amanda suggested he should stick to light-hearted comedy interviews and stressed listening over imposing his own view. Some agreed with Shannon, such as one user who said, "Shannon ain't wrong, I remember vividly being a kid. And the adults always told us speak when you're spoken to and come when you're called other than that there was no correcting adults. We would have been smacked into next week for correcting them." However, most people did not support Shannon. He addressed the backlash in a recent interview with Cam Newton, stating that if this was the only interview fans had an issue with out of all those on his channel, he could live with that. What's truly surprising is the number of people targeting Shannon. It seems this animosity started even before the Katt Williams interview. In May of last year, TMZ Sports reported a break-in at Shannon's Los Angeles home. The incident occurred between 7:00 p.m. and 9:30 p.m. While Shannon was out having dinner with friends, reports indicate that the thief stole various items including watches, jewelry, and designer bags worth approximately $1 million. Although at first this seemed like an isolated event unrelated to the podcast, Shannon later offered a $50,000 reward for information leading to the burglar's arrest. However, since Shannon's interview, rumors have surfaced saying that the robbery may have been a failed attempt on Shannon's part, turning into a theft when the perpetrators didn't find him at home.
Go, Stephen A. Bring me on First Take. Thanks, Stephen A. I can't thank you enough, and I'm sure we're going to talk about that at some point. Have a meeting with Dave Roberts, who's the EV of sports talent there. Talk to Burke Magnus. Talk to Jimmy Pitaro. Man, Bob Iger. Pick up the phone, call me. Have a conversation. He's the president. Never really had the president like, or the head. Right. Say, I'd like to have a meeting with you. I just don't want you to do that. I want you to do other things. I was like, wow. So First Take numbers, the days I'm on, is doing unbelievable. And that's just not because of me. Stephen A. has done a great job of having, Pat McAfee was on, Dan Orlovsky, D.O., Saturday was on, a lot of different guys. Ryan Clark was coming on. A lot of different guys helped that. And now, all of a sudden, you see Club Shay Shay.
Confusing that people are criticizing Shannon because all he does is give black celebrities a stage, even with Katt Williams' support. It seems Shannon Sharpe is quite upset because his viral interview with Katt Williams has made quite a stir. When you allow guests to share sensational stories about important figures, it's sure to attract a large audience, but at what expense? Shannon must have known that there would be repercussions. This may seem like a wild plot, but Shannon wouldn't be the first or last person blackballed by industry gatekeepers who didn't like them for many fans. When guests stray from the subject and make divisive comments or outrageous claims about celebs who have previously appeared on his show, Cam started asking Shannon how he stays impartial. Shannon recently talked about the chaos he's faced since his viral interview with Katt Williams earlier this year. Shannon addressed the disagreement between Katt Williams and Ricky Smiley and clarified that he doesn't have to verify what his guests say because he thinks they are telling the truth. He also said that he lets them speak openly without fact-checking anything they say. Shannon went on to say that Katt had given the evidence supporting each of his claims, and he emphasized that he shouldn't always push back most of the time, he just wants to give the guest a chance to talk. Shannon went on to talk about how his podcast's fame skyrocketed when he had an interview with Katt. Katt had warned that the interview would change the course of Shannon's show, but he had also warned that powerful people in the business will take revenge on Katt for providing him with a forum to reveal their secrets. Shannon acknowledged that this had happened and thanked Katt for the enormous boost in popularity that came from her shocking revelations. However, he also admitted that he is facing significant fallout, as Katt had warned. It appears that some industry insiders are upset with Shannon for making fun of Katt's jokes, and they are supposedly preparing a covert plan to destroy Shannon's platform as a kind of retaliation. Setting aside Shannon's comments, let's examine the industry figures who reportedly sought revenge on him for giving Katt Williams a platform. Shannon acknowledged that he knows the possible consequences of featuring Katt Williams on his podcast, but he also expressed surprise at the level of backlash and negativity that ensued. Get this, Shannon claimed that the recent surge and rumors about him supposedly being on the down low are a direct result of having Katt Williams on his show. A number of people openly attacked Shannon, alleging that he denigrated other Black people for his views. One prominent person who first refused to comment on anything that Katt had said about him on Club Shay was Steve Harvey, who emphasized his dedication to positivity. Moreover, Steve released a video on X with the comment, "You don't have to address your haters," giving Family Feud advice on overcoming hatred. Steve couldn't help but address the problem on a previously recorded episode of his radio show, The Steve Harvey, and it seems that the cat truly got under his skin. He didn't hold back when he chose to spill the tea. Steve urged people to exercise caution when someone offers something as the truth, since even eloquent speakers can be dishonest. He suggested that the cat might well be a big-time liar. That wasn't the end of it, though. During Steve's most recent Golf Classic event, he again addressed Katt Williams and the Club Shay interview. Steve bluntly stated that Katt ain't is and that he would happily destroy him following Monique's dramatic appearance. Steve pointed out that some people lie so effectively, mixing in just enough truth that they can make you believe their lies. Soon after, DL Guy had a lot to say about Club Shay. He directly criticized Shannon Sharpe for being messy on his Instagram live. In reaction, Shannon Sharpe said he wasn't spreading gossip but was just giving his guests a platform to express themselves. However, Dave Chappelle weighed in, even though Katt didn't say anything negative about Chappelle during his interview on Club Shay. Dave was upset with Katt, saying that she was only focusing on Black comedians. However, supporters quickly checked Dave and told him that Katt had made it plain that this was not about having no idea. A lot of people would react badly to Katt's interview. Fans appear to be unsure on how to react to Shannon's remarks, with many of them asserting that there is no chance Shannon was unaware of what would happen. Fans don't think Shannon needed to be fake. Instead, they believe he should have anticipated that kind of backlash. Shannon should have handled the situation as though it were Katt's ideas, not his own. People with big egos, like Steve Harvey, will only see Shannon laughing at everything Katt says and enjoying himself. Additionally, numerous fans objected to Shannon's charge that he was hypocritical for not pressing Katt on his assertions while showing a different attitude towards him. Actor and comedian Amanda Seales was one of the notable guests on his show. In April, she hosted Club Shay, where she frankly shared her new diagnosis of autism, emphasizing the importance of her journey of self-discovery. She also touched on rumors around her alleged conflict with Ice. A mixed reaction was given to Shannon's interviewing manner. Some viewers thought it was excessively aggressive, even if differing viewpoints shouldn't always be associated with neurodiversity or other unrelated problems. The circumstance underlines the continuous conflict in the public domain between free expression and accountability, while proponents such as Williams defend the freedom to voice differing viewpoints, while others emphasize the significance of holding public leaders responsible for offensive language. This incident with Appointed and Williams' defense highlights the larger discussion about cancel culture and its effects on public debate. It also raises issues regarding the proper boundary between holding people accountable and granting room for divergent views. As discussions over cancel culture continue, Katt Williams' outspoken support of Shannon Sharpe during the latter's cancellation incident shows the difficulties in balancing free expression and responsibility in today's society. The incident serves as a reminder of the importance of having civil conversations and the difficulties in bringing disparate views together in a divisive society. If you like this video, be sure to watch some of our others that are playing on the screen.